And we welcome you into another episode of the Penn State Baseball Show. Brian Tripp, great to be with you this week. Quick show this week as the team is in the midst of their spring break trip. Just took on Virginia yesterday, and they're heading back to Cary, North Carolina for 3 games against Harvard this weekend before the home slate begins with UMass Lowell on Friday at Medler Field at Lebrado Park. So we're going to check in actually with JT Marr on the bus as the team is traveling back to Cary to get ready for this weekend's games. Just practiced this morning in Charlottesville after taking on UVA yesterday. JT joins us coming up here on the bus for this week's episode. Then we'll get a full episode for you next week. So without further ado, here's graduate student JT Marr, who's on an absolute tear here to start the 2024 season. And that's where JT Marr is joining us from the team bus right now for this week's episode. JT, appreciate the time. What are you doing to pass time on the bus trip?
I appreciate you having me on. Nothing too much, just hanging out and watching some Netflix.
No karaoke this week?
No karaoke this week, nah.
We saw that on social media this past week. Who had the best voice on the team when you guys sang karaoke?
It's a tough one. I think Bobby Marsh hit it pretty well, but Bryce Molinaro had a good one too.
Obviously, I think that's indicative of not only the type of group that you have, maybe not the type of voices that you have singing, but the type of group you have. What's allowed the team to come together so quickly to this point?
Just spending so much time together, honestly. Starting off the year, just being on the road a lot, gives you that ability to kind of bond with each other, and you get to know each other real well early on in the season. So I think it's a benefit for sure.
I think sometimes everyone wants to sleep in their own beds, and that's obviously a good thing. But to get to go on the road a lot early and spend time with so many new faces and new coaching staff, how has that helped this group come together early in the season? Take us behind the scenes for those who don't have the chance to be around.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a big thing is, we've done a couple of team dinners here and there, and just being able to spend that time together. Another big part is we play a lot of games on the bus together, and just spend a lot of time together. And I think that helps the on-field play, no matter what, for sure.
It seems like obviously the entire team has a pretty close bond, but especially that group of catchers right now. What do you like about the group that you get to work closely with every single day?
Oh, it's awesome! It's awesome. Our catching coach, uh, you know, he takes a lot of pride in that, and having Marty and Maloney in that group as well. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. We all get along, and we put in a lot of work too. So it's a good time.
You've put in work, especially here recently at the plate, your first home run of the season, obviously a hit in each of the 11 games so far this year. What do you like about the way that you're swinging the bat right now? Take us through your approach at the plate, and then also what's going through your mind as you're putting the ball in play.
Uh, I feel good. I feel good at the
Yeah.
plate right now. But I think the big thing is as a team collectively, we all have good approaches, and we talk
Yeah.
about that on a daily basis, and having a good process and from where it starts. We get to the field, taking BP, things like that. So I think it's pretty easy once we get to the game, as long as we stick to the plan.
What do you like about that team approach? How much, take us inside the mind of a hitter. How much does it change based on the opposing pitcher you're facing, and how much is it, this is our team's game plan, this is kind of our identity, this is what we stick to?
I think it makes it very simple when you get into the box.
Yeah.
We have a game plan for every pitcher, and our coaches do a great job of that. So it takes the thinking portion out of it for us. When you go up to the plate with a good plan, and as long as you get in there and execute, it should take a lot of the mentality and mental part of the game and should be able to go up there and hit.
You talk about getting to know an approach for an opposing pitcher. What has the process been like getting to work with the pitchers on your staff to learn their ins and outs and what works for them, where they're more comfortable, so that way you, the other catchers, can get a real feel for handling them in game situations?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a big part of being a catcher is just knowing who you're catching,
Mhm.
and being able to know where they're going to miss, where they want to miss, and when things aren't going right, for sure be able to tell them, what they can do better. But yeah, it's a big part of it, and being able to, being close to those guys is a big help for sure.
Would you consider yourself a vocal guy behind the plate, or are you someone that's more lead by example when out on the field?
Uh, I think I'm a little bit of both, but I
Yeah.
like to lead by example on the field for sure.
As you go through working throughout the game, there's different elements. And everyone says, when you're a catcher, I know you're not catching every game, but when you're a catcher, your your first focus is defense and pitching, but you take a lot of pride in that offense. So what element do you take more pride in? Your ability to put the ball in play, hit home runs, drive guys in, or your defense and ability to call a game?
That's a tough one. I don't really think I have a favorite. I like to just go out there and have fun. Just go out there and have fun.
You mentioned going out there and having fun. Let's take us all the way back. When did you start playing baseball and why?
Oh man, I think I started playing baseball when I was 5 or 6. I'm not sure why. I think my dad definitely had an influence on me, and my uncle. Uh,
Yeah.
but just put me in coach pitch, and rest is history.
Favorite players growing up? Who were they?
Chipper Jones, hands down.
It's a great one.
Yep.
What was it about Chipper?
Uh, well, I grew up a Braves fan, being, and then Chipper. I played the infield growing up, so him at third base. I watched him on defense, and then I wanted to switch it, and of course he was a switch hitter, so everything kind of aligned. Watching him, so it just kind of latched on for sure.
Quite a journey in your career to get to this point. Did you think 4.5, 5 years ago when you started your college career that you'd be playing your fifth season here at Penn State?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. My family talk about this, or my family and I talk about this a lot. Never would have guessed this happened, but I'm very thankful and blessed to be here, and it's been a blast so far.
What was it about the opportunity to be a Nittany Lion that enticed you when you knew you had this chance here for this season?
I think the biggest thing is just kind of the culture and the traditions, of the Penn State. Um, kind of just who they are and who they want to be, and I think a big thing. I think being from the South, Penn State has always been a winning culture, and I kind of just wanted to be a part of that for sure.
How'd you do during the winter?
It's cold. It's cold for sure. Had to adjust. Still adjusting, I think.
Well, don't worry, it's 60 and sunny here. When you guys get back, the grass is ready, Medler's ready. I know you can't wait to play on that home field. I know you've had the opportunity to watch the progress and the growth of Medler here during the course of the offseason, but haven't had a chance to get out there. So
Yeah,
when you guys get back home, how excited are you to finally get on that field for the first time?
yeah, we're extremely excited be able to go right outside the locker room, and get on the field for sure. But I think that's a big part too. Having an indoor facility, I think that's
Yeah.
just going to make us that much more grateful for what we have for sure.
What's the mindset and the approach going into the weekend here, going back down to Cary to take on Harvard? Where do you feel like the next steps are for this group to continue to hone that craft during non-conference play?
Just take it one game at a time. I think that's the biggest thing right now. We're in a good spot all around. Um,
Mhm.
just one game, one pitch, and one out, and I think we'll be just fine.
How big was it for that bounce back in the doubleheader on Sunday against Davidson? What did that do for the collective mindset of the guys? And what did it prove that, even though things didn't go your way on Saturday, you're able to bounce back and get a pair of games? Sweeping a doubleheader is tough no matter who the opponent is on Sunday.
Absolutely, you took the words out of my mouth. Taking a doubleheader is tough, and I think seeing that we took both of them, very convincingly, I think it gave a tougher mentality for this team, and I think it's going to benefit us in the long run for sure.
You played in a lot of doubleheaders during your career. What's it take to put together 18? I mean, I've called a game that's 21, 22 innings of baseball on a doubleheader on a Sunday. What's it take to make sure you're ready to go for a long day of baseball like that?
I don't know. It's a tough question, but I think the big thing is just knowing that it's hard on everybody. Um,
Mm-hmm.
And so just whoever's going to be the tougher mentality, the tougher person that day, I think is going to come out on top. So I think that's a big part of it, and I think this team is well prepared for that.
I know it's a day by day approach, and you certainly would have loved to come out of there with a positive result against Virginia yesterday. But what did you take away from that game? You continued to swing the bat well as the team. You're right there, but a little adversity you faced there for the first time, against Virginia, and you come up on the other end of it. What did you learn about your team, even in a game where the result doesn't end up the way you wanted it?
Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway was you never lose, you learn, and I think baseball's a tough game to play every day. And I think the biggest takeaway is that we were never out of that ball game, and we had a couple chances to win it. And I think it showed us where we need to set our standards and where we can continue to get to. And I think it was a we learned a lot from it, and we're going to continue to get better, and we're going to be there, you know, by the end of the year for sure.
All right, so what's next? A nap, more games, you stopping for food, or just heading? Are you almost there?
I don't. We're not almost there. I think we still have roughly 2 hours. But I think we might get a couple bus games going here shortly. I'm not sure.
JT, good luck to you and the fellas this weekend against Harvard and Cary, and we can't wait to see you back here in Happy Valley really soon. Thanks so much for the time.
Absolutely, I appreciate you having me.